For me, the Ys series has always been one I've been familiar with in passing, as I've heard plenty of reviewers sing its praises, but I'd never played any of the games for myself, until I recently decided to give this gem a shot, that being Ys 5, Lost Kefin, Kingdom of Sand for the Super Famicom. An evil plot from 500 years in the past threatens the world as an old kingdom plans to resurrect itself by sacrificing the new world. And who better to stop it than Adol? You're tasked with the hefty challenge of collecting the 6 crystals and stopping Kefin from being reborn. Of course, it's no easy task as there are plenty of obstacles in your way. All along your adventure, you'll be greeted by many towns that'll send you out to save them from certain demise, as monsters are now roaming about, threatening day-to-day life. As far as gameplay goes, it's your typical action RPG fare, much in the style of Zelda, where you're slashing your way through the game with various weapons. With weapons in mind, I must admit hit detection is a bit shoddy for both weapons and picking up items. In plenty of instances, I would swing my sword and what should hit an enemy doesn't. While this can be annoying at times, it is something you adapt to after a little while, and the same hit detection applies to you, so at least you're on even terms in combat. Speaking of weapons, there are plenty to buy throughout the world which will keep you in tip-top shape to beat the baddies at hand. Since this adventure has you scouring the land, you'll come face to grisly face with a handful of mean creatures from all walks of life, including tree creatures in the forest, gillmen in the marshes, spiders in the grasslands, and plenty more mythical beasts. Not to mention you'll come across many a massive monstrosity guarding those precious crystals. While not the most beautiful looking SNES game, I can't lie and say I wasn't taken aback by a few locations like the waterfall or the oasis. Besides, there are plenty of pleasing locations like the shade-drenched forest or the pristine land of Kefin to keep your spirits up. Not to mention, those crystal guardians never fail to look awesome. Aside from just taking care of enemies, you are equipped with a jump, so from time to time you'll be forced to platform, which isn't this game's strong suit, but fear not as it only rears its clumsy head once or twice. Just be prepared to traverse this waterfall a few times. There are some unique game mechanics found throughout Ys 5. For example, inns work differently. Gone are the days of paying to heal your characters. Instead, simply walking into towns or standing still solves that problem, but if you need to save, then the inn is where you want to head. Magic is handled a little differently here, as you'll find elemental stones throughout the world which can be fused to make flux stones that act as magic attacks. But to be honest, I hardly find myself using them over my actual sword. Personally, I find this game very simple, which isn't a bad thing. Dungeons don't drag on very long, nor do you have to commit to redundant gimmicks outside of that last one in Kefin, and towns don't waste your time with massive side quests to further your search for the crystals. Instead, everything is very straightforward, kind of like Mystic Quest. My only critique about the story and structure of the game is more of a personal annoyance, and that is about 3 massive story dumps in the late game that start to hold things up. The music is exactly what you'd expect from this type of action RPG. There are plenty of hearty melodies woven out of beautiful strings, and many action-packed themes to keep the adventurer in me going. Certainly a fine soundtrack that I'll revisit from time to time. Contrary to many reviewers, I found Ys 5 to be a breath of fresh air in the sea of SNES RPGs. Mostly for the fact that it didn't take me a month or even a week to beat. As a matter of fact, it took me less than 12 hours on my first go and 6 on my second, which is a huge relief coming off the heels of such a massive game like Seiken Densetsu 3. Trust me, this is the perfect game to breeze through on a Sunday afternoon, while bedridden with a cold, or during a worldwide quarantine. If you're looking to get a copy of the game, most translated repo cards will run you around $50, which is a bit steep for such a short game, but it might just be worth it. If simplicity is what you're looking for, then I can't recommend Ys 5 enough, as it has all you want from a great action RPG. The adventure feels grand, the music hits all the right spots, the combat, while spotty at times, still delivers what you want, and the story takes some twists and turns that keep you engaged. If you're in need of a quick fantasy fix, Ys 5 is a strong candidate.